Back in 1915, the historical Isis Theater opened in the stockyards with 400 seats. The theater was hit and destroyed by a fire in 1935. The theater was rebuilt and enlarged with seats for 1,000. It reopened as the new Isis Theater. Then, in 1942, more bad luck. The Marine Creek flooded the stockyards area, bringing a wash of mud and water damage to the theater, resulting in extensive repairs. It finally closed in 1988, purchased by Dr. Jeffrey Smith and his wife Debbie in 2017. Outside and inside renovations and restorations began, preserving any pieces that were still salvageable. Hi Jeffrey, thank you for joining us on Inside the Arts. Now, what was your motivation for bringing this beautiful theater back to life?
Well, to answer that question, I'll have to give you a little bit of a story. So for me personally, I've been involved in theater my entire life. That's something that's always been very near and dear to my heart. Took a deviation off into educational theater and education, and we kind of got to a crossroads, my wife and I, about 2016, and we had this long conversation, where do we see ourselves? We have 4 children. We always tell them that you need to, go for your dreams. And what benefit are we doing as parents if we don't go for our dreams ourselves? I know exactly what I want to do. The Isis Theater, an absolute beautiful building. We need to bring it back to life. I know exactly what I want to do with it, how we can bring it back, what we can do with it. And my wife, God love her, she looked at me and said, okay.
This theater is just so beautiful. Can you tell us a little bit about the restoration?
Oh, absolutely. When I got in here, the building had been left dormant since 1988, which means that the roof where we're standing was open outside. The seats were pretty much toast. I hate to say that, but they were pretty bad off. We basically took everything down to the studs. We went all the way down to the concrete, the 4 bones, the skeleton. Everything here is exactly the way it was when it was originally built from that standpoint. We worked directly in conjunction with the Historic Commission with the state of Texas to make sure that we were matching and staying true to the way that it was once before. If you were to walk into the front door, the tile is actually the original tile that was there when it opened in 1936. When you come into the lobby itself, we did have to redo that. So what we ended up doing is taking it back. When you look at the proscenium arch on the stage, that's exactly the way it was back in 1936. We moved it forward about 10 to 15 feet to make it much more usable or user-friendly. We took out the balcony upstairs because there was no need for 1,000 seats. We're a 500-seat house. We want it to be intimate, up close and personal, and that's what you get when you're here. The sconces that are located in the actual auditorium itself are identical to the way that it was. We've brought in a bar from 1929. We have a bar upstairs that's also from 1929 out of a speakeasy in New Orleans, actually. So if I were to take you through every single piece of the building, which I could tell you about every nook and cranny that exists in this space, we'd be here for days. But that's kind of in a nutshell the space itself.
Why is it important for Fort Worth?
Well, I think it's extremely important for Fort Worth. I think that this is a historic landmark, and to be able to bring that back to its former glory, because in allowing for people to come here and experience what it was like back in that day is very important to us. And being here in this space, we like to think of ourselves as an arts hub. We do allow for all types of art forms to come through this building, and we are a strong supporter and advocate of that, and that's why we want to see that continue to grow, and I think that's what we're able to provide and bring to the city of Fort Worth as we continue to grow.
Downtown Cowtown at the Isis is a multi-purpose entertainment venue that hosts live music, theatrical performances, movies, and private events. Thank you so much for your time, Jeffrey.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much for coming.
You are most welcome. For Inside the Arts, I'm Jamie Perez.